Hello, welcome back to Kingdom Creator Connected Collective. And I wanted to do this series because I wanted to talk about platform development. In this part one, I'm going to talk about the desire that I had to come into platform development. Let's start at the beginning. Over 10 years ago, I started developing content online. It was probably about 12 years ago, back in May of 2012. And I was operating in fashion design, and I was really just trying to find my footing in content creation. So I really just started out doing blog articles. I created my first e-magazine that I never published. I just developed it. I had gotten, I bought this thing, I think it was Page Plus or something like that. They had a software that you could put onto your computer that allowed you the ability to format newspaper articles or magazine articles and block it, set it up. And I went and took all of my articles that I had been blogging and using Blogger and all this kind of stuff, and I developed an e-magazine. Okay. Fast forward, I was doing Facebook posts, I was doing Blogger posts, I was doing all of these types of posts, and then I was also doing video footage. At the time, I was going to events and I was recording content. I was posting that. Still can be found to this day. And I was going to events and all of this type of stuff. But with that being said, over time, I switched from doing fashion content to empowerment content. That as I found my journey into God 2 years later, I started doing content that was about self-development and empowerment of growth and growth as an individual. But I was always working on development and becoming a better person for myself. How can I take the time to build and develop something? The Lord showed me something back in 2012 about this quote, and it always stuck with me. That I live by this is two quotes that I live by, and this is one of them. What goes on internally reflects outward on your external environment, right? So the Lord gave me that quote, and then he showed me a breakdown. Over these past few years, I've developed and did a breakdown of self-development on multiple platforms. I started with Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram. That if you go back and look at my articles, that there are articles way back during those years. It was 2013, 14, 15, 16 that I was doing I was doing fashion articles in 2014. 15, I started to do spiritual development. 16, I started doing more biblical articles. All of these kinds of things. And as I was evolving and going through what I was going through, I was doing content in those areas. The Lord kind of broke me down, and he had me, I went and I was taking a lot of challenges because there were mentors and self-development teachers that I was in that group getting mentorial help. And I ended up talking to this woman one time, and this happened to me on two separate occasions. I talked to a woman in relation to becoming a coach. This was the first person that I talked to and sat down and had a conversation with. We did a 1-hour consultation, and the woman understood that what it was that I was desiring to do. Great. Secondly, I was doing a lot of work in the direction of what it was that I wanted to talk about, develop all of this about helping women internally and outwardly, breaking down segmentally these things, but I was doing it in multiple different places. Okay. Now, fast forward, I'm doing all of this in all these different places. I done now got me the YouTube channel that you watching me on. I done got Facebook groups and Instagram, and then I'm doing business development, but I'm also looking for work. I opened up a LinkedIn during that time frame, and all of this, and I got Pinterest because I was doing that just for the fun of being able to do Pinterest. Nobody was using that as a source of potentially using it as income. Now, people that are looking for income, they were using it, but only within the past 3 to 5 years have you heard people start talking about how you can optimize your income using Pinterest. So what happened was that I was creating streams of income on multiple platforms. Not that I was creating the income, I was creating placement. Sometimes what you have to do, and this is a lesson, you have to develop a location where people can find you consistently for people to find you in this particular realm. But I was talking about different things on different platforms. So I had multiple streams, but I wasn't bringing in the income yet. See how that works? Now, the woman that I talked to the second time, this was a mentor, and she said, you talk about what you want, when you want to, where you want to talk about it. And that's what your problem is, because you're talking about too much in too many places. And I said, okay, how do we fix this? I'm trying to figure out, what is this? Do I need to niche it down? Do I need to what? It wasn't until the past couple of years, I remember during the season, I had started to deal with Lisa Nichols for a season. And Lisa Nichols said that you are developing multiple streams of income, but you're supposed to focus on one stream for 9 months and then develop each stream individually. And I've watched celebrities do this. Remember when Tia Tamera did the Milky? Some of y'all might not know this. They created a product called Milky during the time frame when Tia Mowry was pregnant and she needed something for lactation. So they developed a product, and I watched them go through their product development. I used to even watch, there was some hairdresser guy, I forgot what his name was, and he developed a product line. I was always that person. I'm watching Kimora Lee Simmons. I'm looking at this hair guy. I'm looking at Tia. I love watching these people do these processes of developing products. I'm that crazy person. I love that stuff. Fast forward. So I got all these things that I'm talking about on different platforms, and I'm like, I'm getting tired because I've got all of these platforms. But I wasn't coming to the realization that I was developing multiple stream locations that I could talk about this here, this here, this here. When I finally got me a mentor, I had a mentor for about 5 years. She finally sat down and said to me, do you realize how much content that you push out on a regular basis? I said, I know. She's like, you're a beast in creating content. Really? I just do what I do. Okay. All right. She said, you are a content creator. You should be creating content here, here, and here. And I'm like, okay. So I started creating content where she told me to create content at, but I wasn't doing it right, because what it was I had a vision of where I was supposed to go, but I wasn't meeting in the middle with it. Meaning, you can have a vision that you're supposed to be all the way over there, but you're over here, and you're chasing at being over there, but you ain't there yet. So I wasn't there yet, but I was over here creating multiple streams for over there. So I'm like, God, something ain't working here. So I got all these platforms that I'm working on, but I'm still cranking out content. I could create content for 2 weeks. I had 30 pieces of content, batch, rollout. Next 2 weeks on the next platform, batch, rollout. And I'm literally, if you saw what I was looking at, I have a quilt that's sitting in front of me that I have my phone sitting on. And specifically, the way that the pattern of the quilt is a grid. So to me, I'm literally looking at each box of this quilt as a stream in a sequence like I would be looking at a Notion board. Lie to you not. If I showed you, watch. You see that? That's a quilt. That's a quilt. That's a quilt. You see how it was squares? Okay, that was my point. Next, that I could literally look at it and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about. This is what I'm going to talk about this on this platform, on this platform. Anybody that's watching me, they see, oh my gosh, she's in 15 places and she getting the work done. Yeah, I am. I'm creating the content, I'm pushing out, not getting paid for it. But think about this. And I was just reading an article on Facebook about this. Follow me for a moment. There are women that are their mothers. They have children. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to start talking about this kind of stuff anyway and developing the platform that I'm about to talk about in my next part. There are women. I saw a meme on Instagram 9 months ago, I'll say. In it, it was a woman that looked frazzled and she was laying on the ground. This individual, she's expected to get up, to take care of her family, to deal with her children, to take care of her husband, to be able to look a certain way for her husband, turn around, take care of the kids, make sure they stay off of their devices, turn around and be able to get her 10,000 steps in, turn around and be able to do this, turn around and make sure that she's getting the dinner cooked, making sure that she's being able to take care of herself, making sure that she also be able to meet her friendly obligations, all of these things. And she tired. There was the article I was reading the other day, and Lord, I pray that it pops back up again because I didn't save it. I should have. It popped up and it was an image of a woman that had 5 children. And the article was talking about a man that was talking to a therapist. The man was saying to the therapist, my wife don't do nothing. She ain't got no job. And the therapist said to the husband, what does she do all day if she doesn't have a job? He said, well, she gets up first thing in the morning around about 6 o'clock in the morning. She gets up, makes sure that she's taking care of our 5 children. She goes, she takes care of herself. She then makes sure that I have something to eat for breakfast by the time that I'm getting ready to go to work. Then she has to take care of the infant. She's made sure that by this point, she done fed the infant twice at this point. And then for the rest of the day, she's making sure that she's making the lunch for the kids. She's making sure that if there's dinner that needs to be made, she's prepping that. She's doing all of these kinds of things. Then she's making sure that the schedules are properly accordance for whatever she needs to make the schedules for. Then by the time that I get home, she's already prepped, made dinner. She's made sure that the kids were well taken care of so that they're all settled in, that we can have family time at this point. And then she's back to prepping for tomorrow so that she can do all of this. And then she's making sure that she spends time with me. And then before she goes to bed, she's still got to prep something else in relation to all of this. But she ain't got no job. And the therapist turned around and said, she got no job. Let me explain something to you. This is why I wanted to create this platform. Because of the fact that the things that I've always been talking about were separated into multiple phases. And I've been doing this for years. I've been talking about self-development. I've been talking about fashion. I've been talking about money. I've been talking about all of these things. I've had podcasts talking about creativity and being a creative. I've talked about all of these things in separate places. I've had the Pinterest where I was pinning things. I was giving encouragement. I was even talking about relationships and how relationships affect you. And I was talking about that over there. And I had all of these things and I ended up like 7 to 9 streams of income, but I wasn't bringing the income in because I wasn't thinking about it at that particular time. I was just talking about it because I enjoyed talking about it and these things were bothering me. So I came to the realization, I want to create my own platform. So this is the pinnacle that pushed me to want to desire to develop my own platform. I'm about to come back and we're going to dig deeper into platform development. I'll see you in the next one.